everyone. So today we're going to be talking about registering for and taking the Hiset online. What we are going to cover is creating a Hiset account, running a system compatibility test on your device, and we'll go over booking the test as well as the testing materials that are allowed, as well as the environment that you need to have in order to test at home. And then we'll briefly go over the online test process, and I'll share some free practice tests and resources that you can find online. And finally, I'll show you how to check your scores. First, we're going to start with creating the Hiset account. So in order to create the account, you're going to go to the PSI website. So you're going to go to the sign in page and then create an account. And you're just going to put in all of your information here. Make sure that the name that you put on your account exactly matches the name on your government ID. So the IDs that you're allowed to use for the Hiset is either a driver's license, a California or state ID, or you can use a passport. So those are generally the types that are accepted. So make sure that the name on your account matches exactly whatever your name says on your government ID. For your email, use your personal email for this account. Do not use your school email. So once you have filled everything out, you just create an account. It's pretty simple. And then from there, you are going to get a Hiset ID. So once you're logged into your account, you can go to the top right section of the screen on your homepage and click on My Account. And at the very top, you'll see My Hiset ID. So send this Hiset ID to your teacher, your counselor, and also just keep your login information and your ID for your personal records. Okay, so the next step is to check that your device meets the requirements for testing at home. So you're going to run a system compatibility test. And this is what the page looks like. You're just going to click Run Compatibility Test. And what it'll do is it'll check your microphone and your camera, the webcam, as well as your internet connection. And it's also going to check your browser. The best browser to use for testing is the Chrome browser. So if your compatibility test passes, then it'll say system passed. If not, it'll say system failed, and it'll tell you what happened or why it did not pass. So this is a very important step to make sure that the device that you're using is going to work with the test. So if you want more information on that, you can go to PSI and search for system requirements, and you'll be able to find just a very detailed list of what kinds of operating systems work with the test for whether it's Windows, Mac, or other types of devices. It tells you like what kind of internet you need, and all of that. So you can look through this yourself. I'll link this below the video. But generally, if the system compatibility test passes, then you should be good, but you need to make sure you use that exact same device on the day that you test. So don't switch out your devices and forget to check your other one. Okay, so we're going to move on to booking the test. So when you're in your account, you're going to go to schedule, new booking, and either that or retake if you're doing a retake. You're going to see all of these different options for tests to take. There are 5 total sections of the Hiset, and you're going to choose the ones that say test at home, online, proctored, live. So you need to, in order to pass and get your high school equivalency, you need reading, writing, math, science, and social studies. So when you go to book, you're going to be booking one at a time. So just start with the one that you would like to do first. And then it'll ask you to verify what language you're taking the test in, and it'll again show you online, proctored, live, so you know you're in the right place. Also, it will have you check mark to verify that I own or have a device that is suitable for the exam, and check mark that I am able to take my test in a secure room. So the exam setting must be in a private space, not a public area. I'll go over that a little bit more later. So because they do make you verify this before even paying for the test, that means that if you find out later that you don't meet the requirements, you are not going to get a refund because you already verified that you met the requirements. So that's why this is important to do all of the system checks and everything and have a space to test before you even pay for anything. Okay, so then you're going to choose the time and the date, choose Pacific Standard Time if you are in California, and just pick your date. And there's usually a lot of times available, 24/7. All right, and then the last step will be to pay. So the first test is going to cost you $54, which includes a state fee, exam proctor fee, and the actual test itself fee. The state fee is only paid one time, so once you pay for the first one, the ones following that will be $35. So it comes out to about $170 for all 5 sections. Oftentimes students spread these out just to kind of lessen the financial burden, but also so that you can kind of focus on one test at a time and passing one at a time. All right, so we're going to move on to testing environment and materials. So the test environment I mentioned a little before, but it needs to be a quiet, enclosed room that is free from mess and clutter and where you will not be disturbed. So no one is allowed to enter the test environment, and that even includes pets and babies. So I would recommend locking the door while you're testing and just asking your household not to bother you at all. And try to do it at a time when people are not going to be around, if that's possible. And yeah, you cannot do it in a public area. You can't really, the only way you would be able to do it at a library is if the library had a room for you that was private. And that would be something that you would have to talk to the librarians about and figure out. And then let's talk about allowed materials. So you can have a small whiteboard and dry erase marker and eraser, but you are not allowed to have pens, papers, calculators, phone, food, drinks, etc. Calculator will be provided on the testing screen. So you will have access to a calculator, but just not a physical one. And then I definitely recommend having this little whiteboard, especially for the math section, because you are going to want to write out and work out math problems. And if you have nothing to write with or write on, your accuracy is not going to be as good. You're going to be doing too much in your head, and you're probably going to get the questions wrong. So that would be something to buy. You can buy them at Walmart, Amazon, Target for just under $10 for sure. Okay, the online test process. So there is a video that I will link below. It's linked in this slide deck that you can watch that walks you through the online testing experience. That would be a very good thing for you to watch so that you're very prepared and you know what to expect. And then there is also a PDF. So there's so many resources on the website. So this PDF goes through like very detailed step by step what the check-in process will be like. Um, you know, it shows you screenshots and then like how they're going to verify your identity, how you have to do a 360 room scan, and all of this stuff. So, they're going to check your hands, your elbows, your earbud, or your ears to make sure you're not wearing earbuds. And then it'll show you like what the test itself is going to look like. So this is a very helpful PDF, which I will also link below. I would highly recommend looking through it. Just be as prepared as possible. Don't go into the test blind, like not knowing what's going to happen. Yeah, so since you are investing in yourself, you're paying for this test, make yourself prepared, know what to expect, and make sure you're ready, not just to pass the test, but also to be able to do everything you need to do to get to the test. So meaning like that your computer is going to work, your internet's going to work, you have your ID, you have a working webcam, microphone, all of that. So do your homework a little bit in that sense. All right, so some online practice tests. So Hiset, also the hiset.org also has a resource library with tests that you can take. So they actually just came out with brand new free practice tests. So it's where I am right now is hiset.org/resources-library. So you can see there's many different versions of the test. You can open up the PDF. You could just do it on your screen, write the answers on a piece of paper, and then the answer keys are at the end, so you can check and you can see the description of why this answer is the correct one. So that's one way to take the tests. And you ask your teacher for other resources, because as teachers we have access to a lot of different curriculum and stuff to help you with just studying and learning what you need to know, gaining the skills to pass. All right, so moving on to checking your score. So all of the tests except for writing, you will get your score immediately. So that's really nice. So the only one that you're really going to need to check is writing. So you're going to log back into your PSI account, you'll go to manage, and you'll see the list of tests. So it'll show you either pass or fail. And for the writing test, it'll take about 24 to 48 hours usually to get your results back. You can click check score report if you want to see more details of your report. So I'll show you an example of a math score report from a student. So the student passed with a 10, the minimum was required is an 8, and you can see these 4 content areas and the percentage of correct answers they got within those content areas. So something interesting about this is that this student scored an average of a 34% of the answers correctly within this test, but yet they still got 2 points over what they needed to pass. So just keep that in mind. Not at all advocating for you not to study. That's not what I'm saying, but I am saying that the bar's lower than you might think. So don't cut yourself short. I think the best policy is to just try and attempt the Hiset as soon as possible. If you don't pass, that's okay. You can try again. You have 3 chances every 6 months to take it. And it's good sometimes to just get the experience and know what to expect. So work with your teacher, talk to them about this, but don't just wait around and have all this anxiety that you're not ready, and then hold yourself back. So good luck to you. Study, do your best, talk to your teacher and counselor if you have more questions, and let your teacher know when you have registered and if you pass or not. So we're here to help you make sure you know everything you need to know, that you have all the resources to study, to prepare yourself, and hopefully this video helps walk you through the process of actually registering once you get to that point. So good luck. Thanks for watching.